Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Community for Everyone podcast. My name is Szabella Pastor. I'm your state senator candidate for the 1st Legislative District. We are here because right now we are at a time when folks want to be engaged in a community, and this podcast is here. I'm very excited about it to build that up. We're here to talk about what it means to be in a community, how we can support ourselves, and how we can solve some of the pressing conversations of our time. So today, I am going to talk to you about something that I am very passionate about. Today, I'm going to talk about the climate crisis. Bum, bum, bum. So, in case you don't know, the climate is changing. We are seeing increased wildfires. We are seeing really stronger weather patterns. We're seeing stronger hurricanes and typhoons and variable weathers. So we're seeing weather where it changes, where it was, people would say, I remember back in my day, it was snowing at this time. Now it's not snowing anymore. It's just freezing cold. So, the climate crisis in the sense, why crisis? Well, it's called crisis because we need to respond. This is a problem that has just gone on for too long, something that is really delicate and very fragile, and that needs solutions today. So today I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give you some background information. You're also going to hear in the background my dogs. So I have Maji, my running mate. I got Kiwi, his trusty sidekick, who we also call the princess around here on the streets. They are my family, and of course they are here living in this house with me, so there's nothing I can do about it. You are just going to hear them every now and then. So let's get into it. The climate crisis. What does this mean? What does it mean when things are changing? Why are things changing? Well, just to give some background, and I want to say that first off, while I'm not an expert on this, I have been doing a bunch of research on this. I've been reading about this, and I actually worked in civil engineering, where we have just been doing all sorts of stuff that are very sensitive to this. So while I'm not an expert in the sense I'm putting out big giant research papers to say what it's about, I am working every day with this issue and the real life impacts that we're seeing in industries across the board. So why is the temperature changing? Well, if you can imagine, you're in your house and someone comes in and they somehow modify your kitchen to be this big sauna, and they start pumping and pumping and pumping all this hot steam, and it's going to warm up your house. Our house right now, our planet right now, is being warmed up. We have carbon that as humans we're producing that's coming out of our cars, it's coming out of our manufacturing processes. Across the board, you have all sorts of different sources that weren't there hundreds and even millions, hundreds of thousands and even millions of years ago. And what this means is our planet, which can react to certain types of changes in the temperature, doesn't have the tools to react to these changes because these changes are just happening so quickly. So humans are warming up the planet. And we're looking, what does it mean warmer? Well, they measure everything in Celsius. So if you don't know what Celsius is, I highly encourage you. It's basically you have the United States temperature system, and then you have the system that the rest of the world uses, which is Celsius. And you take a measurement of where Earth was, basically before human civilization really started. And then you see how it tracks. Now, yes, there were times when the planet warmed up all on its own. But we want to just understand here that it's going really fast right now. We're in a race car zooming around. So our planet is warming up. And if you haven't read the International Panel for Climate Change, they are just a phenomenal panel of scientists that are putting out information about this all the time. It's really, really great. And the International Panel for Climate Change publishes what they're expecting for temperature changes and what they're expecting to happen for temperature changes. So what we are seeing right now is generally we're about almost 1.5 degrees Celsius. This means we're 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer than what the planet normally would be at. And there's some debate about that number. Some folks are saying, well, we're not quite at 1.5 degrees Celsius. Some folks are saying that we're actually at 1.7. When if they measure, for instance, right now, they did some research, I think it came out on February 5th. They measured fossilized sponges that shows that we've actually been at 1.7 degrees since 2020. So regardless, the planet is warmer. And regardless, we need to respond. Now, what does it mean to respond? So I'm going to give you some background information about this. In my civil engineering work, we would work with different models, and you have to essentially design what is a 100-year storm. This 100-year storm means that it happens once every 100 years. With the temperature changing, what happens is these storms, they are more often. Your 100-year storm might start being now a 20-year storm. And your 100-year storm now is like a 1,000-year storm. So these storm patterns are changing. You get more rain than you're used to. But there's a problem. We've been designing for the old storms. We've been designing for the old weather patterns. Here's another example. So in that case, it was rainwater. When it falls and it hits the concrete, it goes all over the place. And you have to design for that. You have to figure out, okay, how is that rainwater going to go into the catch basins? Is it going to be stored in a big detention vault before it gets released? Or maybe it has nothing to do with rainwater. Maybe, for instance, it has to do with water lines. Your water that you drink right out of the faucet. The water line has to be like 10 feet below ground if you don't want it to freeze at really, really cold temperatures. And we are seeing colder and colder temperatures because this big thing that hopefully one day I'll talk about as well, called the polar vortex, keeps breaking on us because of the climate crisis. And so because this polar vortex keeps breaking on us, then it brings this colder weather. And if your pipes are too shallow, the water in it is going to freeze. So the problem is we have been designing infrastructure just to live our day-to-day lives. And we aren't changing the infrastructure to respond to the climate crisis. So when people are saying we need solutions for the climate crisis, it's not just about reducing the carbon, it's also about providing that infrastructure. So to provide that infrastructure, that means changes in our legislation, that means changes in our laws, and that means working together with our land developers, our homeowners, our banks that are sponsoring these large developments, a number of key partners and specialists to make sure we are properly tackling this solution. Thank you again for joining me on this incredible podcast, The Community for Everyone. My name, again, is Szabella, and I'm here every Monday, same time, same place. If you want to get more information about my campaign, check us out at www.sabella.com or follow us on any of our social media at Vote for Szabella. Please have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoy the week. Get out there. The sun's coming back, so have fun. Bye.